Cynthia is a Caucasian female who is 15 years of age. Roberto, 19 years of age, her boyfriend and father of her 2 children, is extremely jealous, abusive, and very manipulative. He has openly had sexual contact with several other young teenage girls. Cynthia has been severely abused by Roberto. He has continued to check up on her constantly and often appears to be on drugs. He has a history of abuse in Cynthia's family. The social worker staff have confronted Roberto with his abusive behavior. A Child Protection Services worker informed Cynthia that if she could not keep herself safe, she would lose her children. There are many different types of abuse. We have physical abuse, which can be defined as any form of abuse that threatens your safety. Early warning signs of this is going into a rage when disappointed or frustrated, teasing or pushing, threatening to injure, threatening to leave you in an unsafe location. It can look like shoving, strangling, reckless driving, if they block your exit, hair pulling, slapping, throwing objects, pinching, biting, or rape. We can have verbal abuse, which is defined as words that demean, scare, and control. Early warning signs of this is teasing that includes insults, constantly put you down or other people, twist your words. It can look like name calling, yelling, joking, threatening of physical harm, insults, blaming, or humiliating. We can have emotional abuse, which is defined as actions to demean, scare, and control. Early warning signs of this include upset when you spend time with your friends, trying to control what you do, follows you or checks up on you, goes through your belongings, or treats you like property. This can look like stalking, mind games, cheating, threats of suicide, intimidation, destruction of personal property, isolation, ignoring, sleep deprivation, jealousy, and possessiveness. The last form of abuse can be sexual abuse. It is defined as sexual advances that make a person feel uncomfortable, humiliated, sexual behaviors that are unwanted. Early warning signs of this is uses statements such as, "If you loved me, you would," or gets angry when you say no. This can look like use of words such as whore, forcing unwanted sex and touching, tells you of other partners, forces you to watch pornography, strip, or prostitute, and compares you to other partners. Below are some warning signs that a person is or could turn out to be abusive. If any of these questions below describe Cynthia's partner, we should be careful in proceeding with that relationship and try to address those issues. This can be done with the help of a counselor. Is your friend or partner a person who was or is abused by a parent, grew up in a home where an adult was abused by another adult, acts jealous or possessive towards partner, refuses to let you have other friends, gets serious too fast, isolates partner from friends, family, outside interest, has a quick temper or mood swings, checks up on you, tries to control what you wear, do, or see, blames others for your own misbehaviors, abuses drugs or alcohol, refuses to accept a breakup, is overly sensitive, acts hurt when one doesn't get their own way, has mistreated children or animals, has ever hit a partner in the past, calls you names, puts them down, pressures you for sex, has threatened you or others, is intimidating by using threatening body language or breaking objects, and holds partner against their own will, such as blocking an exit. According to Eyes Wide Open, YWCA of Northeast Indiana, there is a cycle of violence. It begins with a tension-building phase. Victim and the abuser argue a lot. The abuser yells at the victim out of nowhere. Abuser accuses victim, and victim feels like they do not do anything right, and victim feels tension, such as walking on eggshells. Then comes the explosive incident. The tension is built up and then released through a violent act. Violent acts may include intense verbal, emotional, sexual, and/or physical abuse. Then comes the calm phase. The abuser tries to get the victim to stay with them by apologizing, promises that this will never happen again, and tells them that they love them, buys them flowers or gifts, and the abuser excuses for their behavior. Cynthia should not fall back into this cycle of violence, and with our help, she won't. Okay, so how many of you have ever ridden a roller coaster? Let's say I'm going to Cedar Point and I'm taking all of you with me. You have never ridden a roller coaster before. So I decide we should start with the Millennium Force. It's the best roller coaster there. It's fast and big, so we rush to the roller coaster. What happens first? We wait in line. And then we're getting closer and you're getting really nervous and scared. But you've waited this long, so now we're getting on. The car is trucking up the hill and it suddenly goes over. You're going really, really fast and it's so exhilarating. It takes your picture. You had no idea it was coming. You look like a mess. You get off the ride and you puke. You say, I'm never, never riding that again. And what do you do an hour later? You get back in line. This is the cycle of violence. The standing and waiting. The butterflies are the tension building phase. The roller coaster itself is the explosive phase, the fear. The time period before you get back in line is the calm phase, when you feel relief before you get back into that cycle. There are many different effects of domestic violence on its victims. Domestically, Cynthia may live in fear. She lacks trust, feels helpless, depressed, feels inadequate, may be angry. Sometimes she has low self-esteem, blames self, guilty, feels undesirable, questions own sanity, feels disconnected, shame and confusion, sometimes even hopelessness. Physically, she may have an eating disorder, shock, stress-related illnesses, sleep disturbances, substance abuse. Behaviorally, she is easily discouraged. She may startle easily, difficult with closelessness, trouble accepting compliments, withdrawn, unable to think clearly or make decisions. She may have a high level of anxiety. She might minimize or make excuses for the abuse, cry easily, may have difficulty understanding and identifying her wants. She may even attempt suicide. She needs our help. However, in Cynthia's case, it's not just the effects of violence on her, but the effects of violence on children. They may fear the violence themselves, the batterer, the night. They may feel abandonment. They might be angry at the batterer or Cynthia. They might be angry at themselves. They may feel guilt for having negative feelings towards a parent, blame themselves for the violence. They may feel confused, unpredicted. They are not sure what a normal relationship is. They might feel resentment for the abused parent staying in the relationship, for the abused parent not leaving, for being caught in the middle of it. The CDS worker wants our help to get these children out of this situation. Cynthia's children may have behavioral delays, depression, insecurity. They might themselves be cruel to animals, might use inappropriate language. Bedwetting is a sign. Frequent stress illnesses, regression, aggression, poor impulse control, may startle easily, sleep disturbances, withdrawn, model abusive behaviors, acts older than their age, eating disorders, lacks of concentration. They may be perfectionists. Chaos seems normal, low self-esteem. They may run away and join gangs themselves. Lies and cheats, cries easily, poor grades, and they themselves may attempt suicide if Cynthia does not get these children out of this situation. So I've done tons of research on why victims stay in abusive relationships. They may have lived in a home during their childhood where a parent was abused, and they accept that abuse is normal. If abused by parents, victims are more likely to stay in the abusive relationship because they may believe that it's okay to hit someone that you love. They may have an economic dependence. They may be economically dependent on the abuser and see no alternative. They'll stay for economic security. Economic conditions today allow women and children fewer options. Government assistance is very limited, and many victims dread welfare. The partner may control all of the money, and the victim has little, if any, access to it. Cynthia may fear. May fear her partner and see themselves as having no means of protection from the abuser. If the abuse is reported to the police, they have a fear of revenge by the abuser. Often the victim is terrified and will deny the abuser if questioned. Many victims fear the loss of family income if the abuser loses their job. Extended family may cause pressure if the family is broken apart. Cynthia may feel isolated. Often, an abusive partner is the only support system after other friendships have been destroyed. Threats are made against the children or anyone else that the victim may hold dear, reducing the likelihood that the abuser will be reported. Often, family members get tired of helping each time after time and are no longer willing to be that resource the victim can rely on. The victim may be the only one the abuser is violent with, and they believe that there must be something wrong with them. Victims also accept the reasoning that the abusers deserved punishment for doing something wrong. They believe that they are powerless to change the current situation. Severe depression people cannot take care of themselves. They may have religious or cultural beliefs, as well as society demands that the victim maintain the illusion of a good relationship. Many women are raised to believe that a good relationship with a man is all that is important, and then they bear the responsibility for that relationship. The victim still loves the abuser and is emotionally dependent upon them. They feel guilty and pity and compassion towards the abuser and believe that they are the only one who can help them to change their abusive behavior. They believe the abuser to be all-powerful and can find them if they leave the abusive relationship. This belief is often based upon reality, since much of violence is lethal. Frequently and severity, the victim is told that the incident of battering is the last and it will never happen again. Generally, the less severe and the less frequent the incidents, the more likely that it will continue. Since Rigoberto is involved in a gang and in drugs, I found some teen dating violence and substance use information. According to Muller, Tolman, and Culber, 2000, inmate partner violence among adolescents is associated with increased risk of substance use, unhealthy weight control behaviors, sexual risk behaviors, pregnancy, and suicide. Teens who report engaging in violent behaviors are also extremely likely to report using alcohol and other drugs. One national survey found at Youth Violence Prevention Resource Center found that 94% of violent teens report using alcohol and 85% report using marijuana. 55% report using several illegal drugs. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, rates of drug, alcohol, and tobacco use are more than twice as high in girls who report physical or sexual dating violence than in girls who report no violence. Finally, RAIN produced in 2009 statistics that stated victims of sexual assault are 13 more times as likely to abuse alcohol. Victims of sexual assault are 26 times more likely to abuse drugs. Information found on domestic violence across generations. 1 in every 4 women have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner. Almost 1 in 6 pregnant women have been abused by a partner. Abuse often gets worse during the pregnancy. 1 in 4 children that are exposed to at least one form of family violence during their lifetime. And 1/3 of teens report experiencing some kind of abuse in their romantic relationships, including verbal and emotional abuse. After researching teen dating violence, I believe that Cynthia could benefit the most from the empowerment theory and strength perspective theory. In the empowerment theory, individuals gain control of their own lives, which can help them achieve their goals for their problem. This theory fits because it can explain weaknesses within the person's own situation. The empowerment theory helps the individual take back power in their own life. The empowerment theory facilitates change. This theory assumes people are good, but are controlled by their lack of leadership. This theory helps them realize their potential. The strength perspective is similar. The strength perspective assesses the inherent strength of the individual, builds on them, and reframes their personal perception into a good one. The strengths perspective uses the 8 strength-based questions to help the client notice their strengths and how those strengths can be addressed to help their problems. The strengths perspective helps guide the therapy session into an action plan. The theory itself does not identify or focus on the problem. Instead, it is a large part of the. By using the empowerment theory and the strengths perspective theory, we can help Cynthia in eco-mapping and the life model, and also safety planning. Eco-mapping focuses on both the person and the environment as a unitary relationship. It shows boundaries and connections between the ecological and social environments. The life model and eco-map assessment offers more than a negative relationship by helping determine positive and stressful relationships as well between the client and their environment. Safety planning can also help Cynthia. Keep in mind rooms to avoid during the incident: kitchens, basements, bathrooms. We can inform her or give her a cell phone if possible. Know safe places that she can go in case of an emergency. Hopefully spend less time with that abusive person, if any time at all. Have a code word with your family and friends to signal when you're in immediate danger. Make sure that she has money with her at all times. Maybe even change your routes to school, work, or other activities.